insulin. Is that affecting the elderly if half of them are diabetic?
Yeah, if their insulin is being affected in any way possible,
Yeah.
that's a blatant denial of their right and their health.
And test strips. Rationing test strips.
Yeah.
So you can't even test yourself.
That's controlling the health and their free rights. So that's a blatant violation of life, liberty, and justice.
Agreed. So there's so many issues out there, folks. The one you thought you could rely on, I'm shocked that that Ted Bromley spoke to the people who signed my petition and didn't correct the situation. Now, there's laws on the books in Connecticut. Ted Bromley was required to call Tong, and what is happening? The Attorney General's office is defending the people who corrupted the ballot. If you look who's defending Ted Bromley, Secretary of State Assistant, and Kohler, the defense is the guy they were supposed to call to fix the discrepancy. So we're paying for that. It's not going to be fixed by the guy who's covering up the matter.
So I am praying for justice. I am praying for all this evil. This is a spiritual warfare. And you know what? If I could be a peaceful, calming presence for today.
Thank you.
I don't know. But
Joyce the Voice is one class act, folks.
I was an independent all of my life up until this past couple years, a year. Changed my registration so I can vote in the primaries, and I did see and witness how things work in Connecticut as far as the convention goes.
Well, let me mention one more thing.
And that was very interesting to me. I am a member of CTRA, and I do go along with those guidelines because I do agree with them. But I'm a friend of yours, and I definitely support you and your pursuits for justice.
Let me talk about one more issue. The SEEC is the enforcement arm, SEEC, of the Secretary of State. They claim they're different offices. However, when I went to the Secretary of State's office to give him the signatures, Ted Liu collected them and rejected 8,100 or 12,900. I forget which bundle he rejected, but this is the problem, folks. Now, Elizabeth assists me all the time. And in 2020, on Election Day at Columbus Magnet School in Norwalk, she was assaulted by Black Lives Matter, Maya Sims, Travis Sims' daughter, my state rep, and the problem here is that he had a bullhorn in the street.
I remember that was awful.
Elizabeth was attacked, blind. Now, how about being assaulted when you're blind? Can you handle that?
I can't.
I don't think I could.
I think that would be so traumatic.
It's bad enough if you fall down and hurt your knee. Imagine 3 people attacking you, calling you blind biatch, and then you file a complaint with Ted Liu at the Secretary of State in 2020, the day after the election, and no one ever follows up, ever. They don't call. There's photographs. We're waiting for a hearing. It never occurred. That's my 3rd complaint, and the other 2 are just as bad.
The Department of Health, my experience with New York is just as bad, as well as the courts. I mean, it's all over the nation. It's not just in one place. It's not just here. It's just as bad.
Well, it's a double standard.
Yeah.
Because Travis Sims can assault a blind woman who's a Trump supporter. Ted Bromley is referencing all these letters saying we cannot allow a Trump supporter to ever hold office in Connecticut ever again. Those are in his documents. It's on the internet. You can pull them up.
But if you're a rhino, you can.
Yeah, if you're playing the game, they'll look the other way.
Yeah.
But if you're marked as a targeted individual,
if you're pro-Constitution,
God help
if you're
you.
pro-liberty and freedom, if you're pro, pro-life, pro.
Well, this is the thing. If Ted Bromley and Irina Carini and Taffy Womack all threatened to have me arrested, you know, and then they called the state police and did it, which they did do, why didn't the judge sign the warrant? That's a requirement. They told me there was a warrant.
There was no
signature on the warrant, and the state is involved in this covering up this election
Of
fraud.
course they are.
It's pretty sad when you go to the state police with a ton of evidence
How can
and
they
they
follow
never respond.
How can they follow a blank warrant? It's not signed.
Hey, we'll cross that bridge when we
Yeah,
get there.
yeah.
You know, but you see how they just postpone my stuff.
You know what CPS does or DCF? They will have pre-signed.
Really?
Yeah, blank,
Wow.
blank. Yeah,
Oh, come on.
I'm not kidding you.
No.
I am not kidding you. To take children.
Holy
I am not
moly.
kidding you.
My
And they have
children are old
contracts.
enough.
They have contracts with the hospitals. So if they have a contract, that means they have a quota. It's a racket. It's an industry. People do not realize they can medicate these children. They could do whatever they want to them because they're wards of the state.
Oh, ask Elizabeth. What's one of the states in the United States where they can take a disabled person and neuter them?
The state of Connecticut is the only state on the East Coast side that is an authorized state that can
Neuter?
well, no, you can for women. and
Fertility
then-
issues?
Well, yeah, you can have them sterilized.
Jeez.
That's frightening.
It is. It's very frightening. It's very frightening. People have to understand what these foster children suffer. They put them all on psychotropic medications because they're reacting to being traumatized from being ripped from their family.
Yep.
They don't have their dog. They don't
Yep.
have anything.
No support.
Whatever can fit into a garbage bag in
Right.
5 minutes is all they can take with them.
Right.
They lose everything. It's like try being an adult and having your house go on fire. You come home, it's gone. Everything. Now be a
that
child and in your formative years, and all you have is your support. Even if you don't have the greatest parents, you still love your parents, and you have familiarity in your home and your family. I'm not saying it doesn't happen where there's abuse. I'm not saying that at all.
Well-
But 80%, over 80%, are illegitimate, are not valid.
My friend who has 5
Meanwhile,
kids
they
lost
have
his daughter.
pre-signed warrants that they can take children. Court orders.
Shocking.
Yes. Yes.
Yes, a friend of mine who has 5 children lost custody of his daughter, but not the 4 boys.
Yeah.
And the daughter is living in a home
And they have
that has drug dealers.
high risk of every awful thing you could think of in the foster system. I'm not saying all foster care homes are bad.
Right.
I'm saying there's a large percentage. And
My
you could, they're
foster
taking,
sister
and
did
I'm
just
saying they're taken from
Yes, she is.
homes where they're fine, they're perfectly normal parents.
Yep.
There might be some that are not great parents, but they're not abusing them.
Right.
To worse situations.
Yeah.
And there are situations where some parents might be in a disgruntled relationship and the mother accuses the father of this or that or whatever. And it's just a fight, and it may not be legitimate, but then the child goes to foster home and it becomes a legitimate problem because now the child's been sexually assaulted. Or now they put on the medication and then they get all messed up and it
thank
just
you.
destroys their life.
Let's call it a day.
Anyway, yeah, let's end it. This is a bad note, but on a happy note, I got to spend a nice lunch with my friends.
Excellent.
And I
Just
met a new
close
one.
the thing.
So how do I
Just close
close
the
it?
thing. Yeah.
Close this here. Okay.
Awesome. Thank you.